John Grogan and Jenny Havens are running down the street after their wedding because their car broke down in the middle of a snowstorm. They reach home and dip their feet in warm water and drink champagne to celebrate their wedding and to protect themselves from the cold. Jenny asks John if this is a good sign on their wedding day. Before John says anything, she says that it is good luck. John stares lovingly at his wife and asks how he got so lucky to have her. She explains to him that it's step one of the plan. John is surprised and happy at the same time, but Jenny brings up the next part of the plan to move to a warmer place. He agrees with her and they kiss. As planned, they move to South Florida and Jenny drives John to his job interview at Sun Sentinel. The chief editor, Arnie, interviews John and learns that his wife is also a feature writer at the Palm Beach Post. Jenny is waiting for him outside and John comes out with a sulky face, making her start comforting him. But he soon reveals that he got the job and they get excited and she jumps into his arms. As days go by, they start their mornings rereading each other's article and comment about it. John asks her what she thinks about his piece, and since most of it got edited out and it was only a small bit, Jenny couldn't say much, and she points out that they spelled his name wrong as Gorgon, whereas John notices that her article has been given a lot of space in the paper. Soon after, she changes the subject on seeing a dead plant and says, how can she take care of a baby when she cannot even take care of a plant? John is startled to hear this, and the next day, he tells his friend Sebastian about Jenny's remark. Sebastian points out that the problem is them living in a house with a spare room. Sebastian advises him to get a pet to get her mind off the baby for a while. Right then, Arnie tells Sebastian that his travel is approved. John finds that Sebastian is headed to Colombia. He advises John to buy a Labrador because they are easy to train. John takes Jenny blindfolded to a dog shelter and surprises her. She gets happy seeing the puppies, but she is worried since she will be leaving town to cover a story. John tells her that he will take that time to train the dog, and soon a puppy approaches her and she takes a liking to it as well. Jenny tells the pup that she chooses, and soon John drops her off at the airport. Before she leaves, she tells him to choose a name for the puppy, and she is worried how he's going to take care of him. John can handle a pup on his own, and on their way home, he turns on the radio and a Bob Marley song comes up, and the pup reacts to it. So John decides to call him Marley, and the pup moves excitedly, signaling that it likes the name as well. He sees cops down his street, and his neighbors tell him that a robbery happened. John takes Marley inside, and he accidentally spills the dog food on the floor. He goes to clean it, but Marley manages to eat it all. At night, John leaves Marley in the garage, but Marley doesn't stop barking the whole time. So John goes to get him, but when John wakes up in the morning, he finds the whole room is a mess. It soon starts raining, and John leaves Marley in the garage and goes to get Jenny from the airport. The first thing she asks about is the puppy, and when they return home, they are shocked to find that Marley has destroyed the place. Jenny says that Marley might have been scared by the thunder. John sits with Sebastian at the beach, and a few girls passing by drop in after they spot Marley. Sebastian takes this chance to talk with the girls, but Marley starts running off, and they end up going after it. The man at the beach stops Marley, and he advises Jan to bring his dog only after he's trained it a bit. Back home, Marley runs off with Jenny's underwear, and on Thanksgiving, he ran off with the turkey as John and Jenny chased him by crossing their neighbor's fence. As time flew, Marley never stopped giving them a hard time. One day, Arnie gives John the task to handle the columns, but John doesn't think he can. Then Arnie brings up that this is like a promotion to him and asks him to do this until he finds a replacement. Jenny returns home after taking Marley out for a walk. She starts complaining about what he did, and John is having trouble writing something for the columns. Marley comes to lick John, and he breaks the news to Jenny. She thinks this is great, but he doesn't feel so. As they talk about this, Marley starts chomping down the floor. So they take him to training, and they take turns to try what the trainer guides them to do. Marley doesn't listen to a single thing, and the trainer takes the leash to show how it's done, but he jumps over her and starts dry humping her leg. So the trainer throws them out. John and Jenny cannot stop laughing about it, but they decide to take Marley to get him neutered. But he manages to jump out the window and cause traffic. The next day, John gives the piece he wrote to Arnie, but he's not too sure about it. Arnie tells him that it's good and praises him to keep writing stuff like this. John got to work, and what he wrote was about his experiences with Marley, how their days go over from Marley eating stuff at their home, grabbing stuff from strangers, and running off every chance he gets. John covers everything, and his columns get get a good boost to their sales as well. Just like that, 2 years have gone, and one day while they are at the beach, John asks Jenny about the next step in the plan. She tells him that it's time to have a baby, and they head home to get on with the preparations. John even writes his column about it, and Arnie comes to check up on him. John goes out with Sebastian, who offers to join him for his new piece. John is up for it, but Sebastian doubts it since he has to travel a lot, and with him preparing for the baby, it might be hard for him. Right then, John gets a call from Jenny, who wants him back home. He tells her that they could take a break with the baby making, but Jenny comes out to tell him that she's pregnant. He is surprised, and they celebrate. Arnie is happy for them and advises John on what he is supposed to do and not do. He tells John to first get her a gift. Jenny is happy to receive the necklace from him, and while they talk about it, Marley manages to grab it and eats it, so John had to wash it off from his poop. A while later, the couple goes to the doctor for a checkup. The nurse is a fan of his columns and learns that Jenny is in her 9th week right now, but the nurse's face darkens seeing the sonogram. She goes to get the doctor, who does another check to verify, and he breaks the news that they have lost the baby. They return home quietly, and John suggests they go to Ireland to take some time off, and he and Marley sit with Jenny as she cries. It's been a few months, and they get a sitter to look after Marley while they go on their trip. Jenny gives her a file with everything she needs to know. Debbie struggles just like they did with Marley, but she forgets to close the door while she showers, and Marley goes to get her. Freaked out, she tries to get away from him, but Marley manages to grab the towel off of her. Debbie has trouble sleeping since Marley doesn't stop barking at night. In the meantime, John and Jenny have a good time in Ireland. They return home to find an angry Debbie going off about Marley not being a dog, and that's an evil thing that wouldn't stop humping her leg and leaves. During a stormy night, John has trouble with a troubled Marley, and he goes to find Jenny. She breaks the news that she is pregnant. Months pass by, and one night Marley checks up on Jenny. She wakes up feeling the pain, and Marley doesn't give them trouble that day, as John prepares to take her to the hospital. John leaves Marley with his toy and heads out. A few days later, they prepare for a surprise and show their son Patrick to Marley. Jenny works from home as Patrick plays with Marley. That night, John and Jenny are talking about how their lives have changed, but they hear a scream right then, and John takes Marley to go check. They find the neighbor girl got stabbed, and John sits with her until the ambulance arrives. John decides it's time for them to change houses, and he takes Marley and Pat to check it out. Marley runs into the pool right as they reach. John returns home to tell Jenny about the house, but she shocks him with the news that she is pregnant. Seeing his reaction, she takes him in to show that she checked 4 times to be sure. Jenny goes to get Patrick and tells him that she wants to quit her job and take care of the kids. John talks to Arnie about getting a raise and ends up taking on the daily column. They move into the new house, and Patrick's grown a bit now, but they have trouble taking care of the second son, Connor. Jenny gets into postpartum depression and talks to Arnie about it for guidance. John returns home and helps out by taking care of Connor, but Jenny cannot take it with Marley anymore. One day, Marley starts barking and running around the house and even tackles Patrick as he starts running around. When John comes home, Jenny starts complaining about everything and tells him to get rid of the dog. So John takes Marley over to Sebastian and finds that he is moving to New York. John is happy for him, but Sebastian tells him that he can take care of Marley only for 2 days. John returns home and Jenny starts apologizing for saying stuff. And while they talk about how they are not prepared for everything, they got to face it together, of course, with Marley too. A few years later, John and the boys come to get Jenny and their sister Colleen. As days go by, the family spends time playing in the pool, and one day John gets a call from a major news outlet from Philadelphia offering him a job. He tells Jenny about the offer, but he says that they are happy here, and he declined the offer. John still writes his columns, and even though Arnie appreciates his work, John doesn't feel good about his pieces anymore. Arnie tells him to take a few days off, and John takes Marley to the beach. Marley is the only friend John could open up and talk about everything. That day, he feels like Marley should have fun and takes him off the leash. Marley immediately runs to play in the water. Seeing Marley enjoy, the other dog owners let their dogs off to play as well. But unfortunately, Marley decides to go number 2 in the water, and the police get called in. John returns home with Marley and gets a surprise birthday party arranged by Jenny. After the party, Jenny gives her blessing for him to take the job in Philadelphia. While John cleans up his desk, Arnie gets a bit emotional seeing him leave. The family reach their new home, and the boys are shocked by their big home. But Marley runs straight in and breaks a decoration right off the bat. John settles in his new job, and Colleen has grown up as well. They play with Marley in the snow, and he sleeps with the kids. At work, John's boss tells him to change his writing style, and John returns home early to see the kids playing with Marley. When they get inside, they find Marley walking up slowly and exhausted. That night, he lets out Marley to go take a leak, but when he calls back, Marley doesn't return. Worried, John and Jenny start looking around for him. Seeing the kids worried, Jenny goes in and John continues to look for him. He finds Marley lying under a tree and he takes him to the vet. The vet tells him that Marley's stomach twisted and this might continue happening. Since Marley is old, she says that he might not survive the surgery. John tries to convince the doctor, but she makes it clear that they will have to prepare themselves. And John cannot accept that and says that Marley's not like the other dogs, and he even ate an answering machine and nothing was wrong with him. The vet says that they are going to look after Marley and see if he survives the night. John returns home and finds Jenny reading his columns from back then, which had Marley in all of them. John tells her what the vet told him, and Jenny tells him not to worry. The next day, he gets a call from the vet saying he can come get Marley. The kids return from school and get excited to see Marley waiting for them. That day, John runs into Sebastian in town and he shows him the family photo, but their conversation ends up having them talk about Marley as well, and they go their own ways. John returns home and takes Marley for a walk. Seeing that Marley cannot keep up with him, John sits with him and tells him everything's going to be okay. Oh my God, I am holding back my tears right now. That night, John and Jenny find Marley sleeping by the fireplace. John sleeps down with him and pats him to sleep. The next day, John talks with his boss to demote him back to columns. And right then, he gets a call from Jenny saying she cannot get Marley to come back inside the house. John returns home and they get Marley inside. John tells them that he's going to take him to the doctor, and the kids cannot stop crying as they give Marley a hug and Colleen gives her doll to Marley. The kids see them off and Jenny kisses Marley and bids her farewell as she cries. The vet gives John the bad news that there's nothing she could do. John calls Jenny and he gives her the news. He goes back in and sits down with Marley. He gives him the doll Colleen gave him and pats him down. He kisses Marley and says that he wants him to remember that he's a great dog. The vet comes in to send him off. Back home, Patrick plays the old tapes and Marley is there every bit of it. Marley closes his eyes for the last time as John sits beside him. They bury him under a tree in front of their house. Colleen offers a drawing of her and Marley and a writing that she loves him. Connor writes him a letter as well, calling Marley his brother. Patrick says that Marley knows what he might say, and Jenny gives him the necklace she's had on all this time. John finishes up and walks back. He says to us that a dog doesn't care who you are. You love him, he loves you back unconditionally. Before he heads in, he thinks back to how Marley was the beginning of their family and how they lived, though, with everything saying he's the best. I bet you are crying right now, and I am thinking about recapping more dog movies. I did one before, and I will leave the link to it in the comments. If you know a dog movie you want me to recap, feel free to write them down in the comments. Until next time, this is your host for Movie Recap, signing off.